Alright, hi everyone. We're going to go on a little bike ride today around Xi'an. I'll talk you through what we're looking at. Things have started to change quite a lot here now, so hopefully this video will give you a bit of an idea of how things are looking here. Alright, so let's get started. This is my street where I live. As you can see, it's busy, really busy, kind of gridlocked with cars. Actually, my street's usually like that. I don't really know why. There's a lot of people on it, so I guess that's why I've got a lot of people living here. It's not really representative of the rest of the city, as you'll see later on. The rest of the city is still pretty quiet. There are quite a lot of people walking around now, really different from a couple of weeks ago where it was just so empty, and people walking down the middle of the road. Also kind of a common thing you'll see in China for some reason. Everyone's wearing masks, as you can probably see from the video, which is good. I think people are still taking things quite seriously. A lot of the restrictions that we've had over the last six weeks or so have started to be lifted now, not just in Xi'an where I live, but actually in most cities in China, which is good. It means that people don't have to just go out, once every 2 days now. We can go out whenever we want. But a lot of people, and I include myself, I'm still barely going out, to be honest. I'm going to give it another couple of weeks and see how it's looking there before I really get back into any kind of normal routine. Okay, so this is Chang'an Road. It's one of the main roads in Xi'an, and this should show you how it is. I mean, usually this road is still full of cars, buses, people. It's one of the busiest streets there is in Xi'an, and it's still really, really quiet. So although some people have come back to work and these restrictions have been lifted, to be honest, it's still very quiet outside, which is great for being on the bike. Usually at this point I'd be weaving in and out of buses, but things are changing slowly. Right, coming up to the south gate of the city wall, there's a shopping mall just on the right there. Most of the shopping malls are still closed, although a couple of them have just started to open. Not fully though, just certain shops and certain things. Restaurants and things are all still closed. So the city, Xi'an, the centre of the city has like a very historic city wall around it. I did a video about it a little while ago. And the centre of the city is always busy in Xi'an. It's just full of people and shops and tourists. Obviously, a lot of people do come to Xi'an for the terracotta warriors and things like that. That's not happening at the moment, as you can imagine. So the centre of the city is pretty quiet still. We're just heading now up towards South Street and then up towards the dead centre of the city, which is the Bell Tower. Buses are still, well, some buses have started to run, but most of them are still off. You can't really see, unfortunately, because it just flew past quickly there, but they are basically empty as well. There is some public transport going, but there's just no one going out. And if people are going out, they're doing what I do, basically. They bike, or they have private cars. The taxis and public transport are not really doing a great deal at the moment. So this street we're going up now, Nandajia, is called South Street. And it's kind of, to be honest, it's packed full of people. It's all shops. As you can see from the side there, it's pretty much still closed down. This is kind of like, if you think Oxford Street, I suppose, in London. It's that busy usually. As you can see now, there's just a few people kind of walking around and doing their thing. So it's been kind of weird biking around Xi'an in the last month or so. It's not a normal situation. I'm obviously wearing a mask when I'm riding my bike, like everyone is, which is why I'm doing the voiceover like this. Obviously, if I was talking on the camera, when I'm biking, you wouldn't be able to hear or understand anything I'm talking about. Another thing you might notice is, particularly in northern China where I am, January, February are definitely the most heavily polluted months. Not the case this year. Actually, the BBC did an article about that. saying that, you know, because of the massive shutdown of factories and things in China, pollution levels are much lower. It is true. It's been, well, it's been nice, but also, you know, still wearing a mask for a very different reason, which is not great. So that was the bell tower that I just biked around there. It's one of the kind of most famous buildings in Xi'an. And the 4 roads going off it, the north, south, east and west street. I just came up South Street and I've gone all the way around towards West Street, which heads down to, I think you just saw it back there, there it is on the right hand side. That's the Drum Tower, which is another really famous old Ming dynasty building in Xi'an. And it's kind of a marker in Xi'an for the start of the Muslim quarter. People still get in your way, obviously, if you're if you're on a bike. There's still that certain obstacle course aspect of biking around China, even in this situation. Right, so I've just gone off West Street and headed south. So just going down some of the small streets. I mean, it's really quiet. For those of you who know much about China, or you've been to China, you'll know that this isn't how it normally looks. It's a busy, bustling country, especially here in the cities. So it's not quite, it's certainly not back to normal, but you know, people are doing their thing, people are being responsible, as far as I can tell anyway. Right, I'm just going to keep heading south here and hopefully eventually leave the city wall. So the situation here in Xi'an, it does look like it's getting better. We've gone well over 2 weeks now without a new case, which is really good. Again, for those of you wondering how that's possible, well, it's because nobody's going out and no one's seeing anyone. They've been quite, you know, strict with their lockdown procedures here. And now it's happening all over the world, unfortunately. The latest, obviously, is Italy has put some kind of quarantine measures on the whole country now, which is pretty bold. If people are still wondering about how serious this thing is, if China shutting down the whole country doesn't convince you, then I don't know, who knows, maybe Italy will. This thing is not going to go away, despite what some world leaders are saying. Alright, so heading back down to the south wall. This is not the south gate though, this is Juchua Gate, which is just one gate west of the south wall. Of the south gate, sorry. This is usually kind of a busy part of town as well. It's all restaurants and bars and coffee shops and stuff. All closed, obviously, except for that fella washing his car. So yeah, it's all pretty quiet. Right, woman dancing in the street, excellent. There's this is the south gate again, so I'm going to head out and I'm going to move to another part of the city, further south. Right, riding up the wrong side of the road, excellent. Right, okay, so we're back on Chang'an Road, and it's I'm going to keep going south here, through some what would normally be quite busy parts of the town, and we'll see what they look like. So, to be honest, it's been the weirdest 6 weeks I could ever imagine. So different. I've been in China for quite a long time, on and off for, well, about 10 years, and these 6 weeks have been the weirdest time. It's just been so bizarre, hard to really understand what's going on. There's a lot of ideas obviously around the world now about things we can do. The UK is planning on moving to what's called the delay phase. The idea is that they'll try to do things to delay the spread of the virus until warmer summer months. Maybe it makes sense, we'll see. It seems a little bit like doing nothing in my opinion, but who knows, maybe they know what they're doing. I hope they know what they're doing. Right, this is the second ring road. A lot of cities in China, they're kind of concentric circles of of main roads. This is usually the busiest road in Xi'an. It's the main kind of thoroughfare. It's quiet, and usually on a bike I feel like I'm gonna get killed when I'm on this road, but as you can see, it is seriously quiet. Makes it fun to bike around. As you can see, Xi'an, by the way, there's no hills at all anywhere in Xi'an. It's like the flattest city, which makes biking it so simple. To be honest, I think after this whole thing is done and dusted, I'm probably just gonna. I bike quite a lot anyway, but I think I'm just gonna bike everywhere. I don't really feel like taking the subway and the buses anymore. All right, we're in a different part of Xi'an now. This is down near the big Wild Goose Pagoda. That's the big Western hotel there, if you are rich. And this part of Xi'an's kind of cool. It's, to be honest, it's a part that I usually spend a lot of my time if I'm seeing friends and stuff. There's some nice bars and restaurants down here. So, as you can see, all the decorations are still up. Every year in Xi'an they have this massive Chinese New Year celebration and fair, and it goes on for a whole month. Shops and stalls and everything. They set it all up and didn't use any of it because it all got cancelled. Lots of money thrown away, unfortunately. Right, so you just get a view of the pagoda. There it is. So that's the big Wild Goose Pagoda, which is it's very much a symbol of this city. It's old. It was built in the late 600s, so it's Tang Dynasty. Great building. And nice wide avenues. Again, it's usually pretty busy down here. There's just people just ride in the middle of the road, as you can see. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm biking down the middle of the road as well. Might as well take advantage of it. Right, as you can see, it just got a lot darker. That's because I stopped for a few cheeky pints. Just 2 though. No, 1. I'll say I'd had 1. And right, so I'm just heading home now. Basically, I'm coming towards the end of my ride now. I hope it gave you a good idea of, you know, how it's looking here, because there's a lot of misinformation out there about what's going on in China, I think. And of course, man, I don't know what's going on everywhere in China. Of course I don't. But I think I'm pretty clued up on how my own city looks and how it looks out my own door. The basic takeaway is, you know, 4 weeks ago, you'd go out and you wouldn't see any car or anyone. It was absolutely deserted. It is starting to pick back up, as you can see, which is good to know. Hopefully it'll continue this way, and we'll see where we are in a couple of weeks. Right now I'm thinking mainly about people in other countries, particularly back at home in the UK. Everyone, try to be safe and look after yourselves. Please hit the subscribe button, and I'll do another video soon. Bye bye.